Depending on who you ask, robots are either beneficial and vital to a prosperous future, or the thing that ends humanity. After all, these high-tech machines are able to replace humans in many ways, and there are some that have the capabilities that are so strong that they're a bit scary. And be it robotic replicas of human workers or robots that can act as personal assistants, robots are getting much smarter. So join me for today's video. We're going to take a look at 15 next-level robots. Number 15. Ameca. When it comes to AI-powered humanoid robots, few are quite as scary or as advanced as Ameca, created by the company Engineered Arts in 2021. The robot uses embedded microphones, binocular eye-mounted cameras, a chest camera, and facial recognition software to interact with the public. With these interactions using either GPT-3 or human telepresence in order to line up with what the humans tell the robot, Ameca also features high-quality motorized arms, fingers, neck, and facial features, and has gray skin so as to appear genderless. Unsurprisingly, this makes Ameca a rather unsettling piece of technology, as Ameca is very advanced and almost too human for many people to stomach. Yet, given the potential that robots like Ameca have to replace humans in jobs such as customer service, waiting tables, and simple data inputting, I wouldn't be surprised if these humanoid robots become extremely popular in the future. Number 14. John. Generally speaking, comedy is something that's left in the hands of humans. After all, robots aren't exactly known for their humor, and generally speaking, they lack the social awareness necessary to make people laugh. However, John is a bit different. Built by researchers at Oregon State University, John's goal is to use comedy to improve the interaction between humans and robots. You see, John was built with different modes for timing and adaptability, with both of these factors impacting how John delivers jokes and responds to audience laughter. When set up to have good timing and adaptability, a string of 22 shows showed John to be a comedic genius, making audience laugh day in and day out. And while some of this could have been impacted by the novelty of the whole thing, after all, it's not every day that you see a robot with a microphone on stage, I think it's fair to say that John is an incredible little robot. Number 13. Robot soldiers. While a robot takeover of the world may look like something straight out of a dystopian movie like iRobot, robot soldiers would have the potential to do just that. Now, the first military robots actually date all the way back to World War II, yet generally speaking, these robots were rather simple and had to be controlled via a remote. However, in 2019, the US Army officially announced the decision to change course and create autonomous robots. The idea is these robots would be able to understand verbal instructions, carry out tasks alone, and then report back to superiors. While this could potentially be a good thing, after all, they would reduce the number of soldiers fighting in the field and perhaps outperform them, they could also be problematic, as they could both cause soldiers to become over-reliant on what could be faulty tech and create breaches in the chain of command if they fall victim to corrupt data or faulty algorithms. So only time will tell whether or not these robots will become advanced enough for the US Army to rely on them in combat. Number 12. The Terrasentia. While robots are traditionally associated with futuristic projects, one type of robot that often gets ignored are agricultural robots. After all, as the years have gone by, farming has often become extremely high-tech, and one tool that some farmers use to help bring their farm to the next level is Terrasentia. Created by the firm EarthSense, it's a small robot that rolls between the crops in a farmer's field and uses a combination of sensors, visual cameras, LiDAR, and GPS to collect data on plant health, crop physiology, and stress response based on measurements such as stand count, stem width, and plant height. It then uses these metrics to give detailed reports to farmers, allowing them to make better decisions regarding the management of their crops. Best of all, Terrasentia is both self-learning and programmed to use a cloud platform, which ultimately allows it to be given new updates on a rolling basis. And when you further consider that its developers are currently making updates so that the Terrasentia can measure early vigor, corn ear height, soybean pods, plant biomass, and plant diseases, it becomes clear that this robot is truly a grade A machine. Number 11. Atlas. While most advanced robots are very smart, they are rarely all that athletic, as their super advanced parts makes it difficult for them to be especially mobile. However, this common predicament is anything but a problem for Atlas. Built by Boston Dynamics, it is a sizable machine, as it comes in at a height of about 1.52 meters and weighs about 86 kilograms. However, all of this heft is moved around with the help of 28 hydraulic joints, 3 onboard computers, and battery-powered electric motors, and the end result is a robot that's capable of some pretty incredible things. In a recently published video entitled "Atlas Gets a Grip," the robot shows what it's capable of, as it's able to pick up and throw heavy objects, jump, run up the stairs, and even land an inverted multi-axis flip. This makes it by far one of the most agile robots in human history, and while it's not yet commercially available, it's under continued development, so it will be able to be sold as a support robot on job sites and construction areas and mines. However, only time will tell whether or not this handy helper will see widespread adoption. Number 10. Sophia the Robot. Unless you've been living under a rock for the past few years, you've probably seen video or read a news article about Sophia the Robot, as she is simultaneously one of the most impressive and most creepy robots to hit the mainstream. Completed on February 14th of 2016, she was developed by Hong Kong-based company Hanson Robotics. Meant to serve roles in fields such as customer service, healthcare, and education, Sophia has an extremely active memory, and she's able to remember information, learn new things, and respond to situations in the same way a human can, while also learning and developing her skills on a constant basis. She can also use her realistic face to make more than 60 human expressions, and has the capacity to joke around, think critically, or be creative, and as of upgrades made in 2018, to walk. It's because of this that Sophia has gained a number of honors, and she was made a citizen of Saudi Arabia in 2016 and was named the United Nations Development Program's Innovation Champion in 2018, making her the first non-human to be given a United Nations title. And with Hanson Robotics continuing to churn out even more humanoids, it will likely only be a matter of time before there are more robots following in Sophia's footsteps. Number 9. Sex robots. While most pieces of AI are allowed to be used in public, there's a certain class of robots that's instead confined to the bedroom. Spanning across all price ranges and having various pieces of tech associated with them, sex robots are a curious thing. In essence, they are robots that one can do the deed with, and while they can be customized to your heart's content, there's also a creepy element to them. After all, they never act quite like a human would, and their silicone faces and plastic hair apparently makes having intercourse with them rather unsettling. However, despite this, there are some people that have no problems with it, and for them, there exists one sex robot that's more advanced than the rest. Known as Real Doll X, the robot uses AI to fully control its head, body, and facial movements, with minute details like the eyes, neck, and mouth even moving in sync due to its top-of-the-line technology. Everything from personality to voice can also be regulated, and electronic inserts in the doll are even able to detect minutiae in movements, touch, and transitions during intercourse and heightened sensations. However, even if you are into these types of dolls, their price tag of over $10,000 a pop after customization makes them prohibitively expensive for many, making them an advanced yet pricey piece of sex tech. Number 8. Slothbot. While Slothbot may be slow, it's certainly quite mighty. It's located at the Atlanta Botanical Garden in Georgia. It spends its days sliding along a 100-foot-long steel cable. Its job is to purposefully be slow, collecting vital environmental data such as temperature and carbon dioxide levels as it moves along. This is important because its main goal is to act as a private investigator. More specifically, its job is to observe a genus of rare orchids from the Ecuadorian rainforest known as Stenopoea orchids. This is because, unlike most orchids, scientists aren't quite sure how these flowers pollinate, and given the fact that about 90% of the world's Stenopoea orchids are located in this garden, learning this would be a huge help in trying to save these flowers in the wild. As a result, the Slothbot is currently collecting info that can then be cross-referenced with what scientists already know about high-altitude insects, or provide new clues as to which tiny flyers are pollinating the flowers high up in the mountains. Beyond this particular mission, the Slothbot may have many uses in the jungles of South America. This is because since the robot mimics sloths, they would likely be able to exist without disrupting local wildlife, while its ability to slowly collect data over long periods of time gives it a leg up over more conventional methods. Therefore, so long as the Slothbot proves successful in the controlled setting of the Atlanta Botanical Garden, it could also prove to be successful in the field. Number 7. Xenobots. while robots have firmly remained in the land of the non-living, in 2020 scientists began to make the first living robots. And while this does sound kind of scary, the actual specifics spell out a picture that's far less dystopian than you might think. Created by scientists from Tufts University, the University of Vermont, and the Wyss Institute at Harvard, they are tiny living organisms that can be programmed. Known as xenobots, these robots were made with frog stem cells and stand apart due to their status as neither robots nor organic beings. They are instead a cross between the two. Now, the thinking behind xenobots is that they forego one fundamental problem that exists with all conventional robots: decay. After all, most technologies are made from steel, concrete, chemicals, and plastics, all of which degrade over time and can produce harmful ecological and health side effects. Therefore, since these are made using biocompatible materials, they are far less harmful in the long run, and it appears that they may be extremely useful. Made using heart cells that contract and expand to allow the xenobot to move, and skin cells that hold everything together, they can apparently work together without human intervention. However, because they are programmable, they can be made to do tasks on behalf of humans, with these tasks including cleaning up microplastics, digesting toxic materials, or even delivering drugs inside our bodies. However, because these robots involve the creation of life, they are the subject to a lot of controversy, and the reality is that the pressure against xenobots may get so high that their development is simply discontinued. Number 6. Asimo. No list of next-level robots would be complete without including Asimo. Now, Asimo is interesting because he was one of the pioneers of the autonomous robot world. Asimo's origin story begins in the 1980s when Honda made the decision to create a robot that could act independently. However, it was only after about 15 years of work that the company came up with its initial rendition of Asimo. Launched in the year 2000, this 130-centimeter tall robot man was seen by many as being cute and harmless. And while his abilities were relatively limited at the start, eventually he became one of the most advanced robots on the planet, perhaps rivaled only by the AI-driven Sophia in terms of capabilities. More specifically, Asimo could do interpersonal things such as recognize and respond to speech, communicate in English, Japanese, and Mandarin, remember human faces, and return a ball by kicking it. But the robot could also do a lot of cool physical things such as pour drinks, balance a tray with several drinks on it, walk across different surfaces, hop on one foot, and even run at speeds of up to 9 kilometers an hour. This led to more than 100 Asimo robots being produced. And while other car companies tried to emulate Asimo by creating similar robots, none were able to match him in terms of ability or charm. Yet while Asimo was a hit, Honda decided to end development on it in 2018, and it was in March of 2022 that Asimo made its last public appearance. As from then on, it reached what Honda deemed to be its robot retirement age. Number 5. The Millibot. Being at the hospital is far from fun, and oftentimes patients will have terrible side effects because the medications they take don't know how to differentiate between healthy and unhealthy cells. However, the Millibot changes all of this by completely changing the way that medication is delivered and surgeries are conducted. Created by researchers at Stanford University, it's less than 8 centimeters wide and has an origami-like structure that allows it to fold itself out and essentially transform into any shape it has to be. This structure allows to discreetly enter the body and can carry drugs to a tumor, blood clot, or infection, essentially allowing it to fight a problem at its source and help cause little to no side effects. This is important because it could make illnesses like cancer far less painful, as it could do work in a way so that your hair doesn't fall out when going through chemo. The actual structure of the robot is also pretty incredible, as it can sail at 10 times its length in just a single leap by shifting the strength and orientation of its magnetic field. This is not to mention the fact that when it folds and unfolds, it pumps to deliver medicine, and that when it twists to create a suction mechanism that allows it to transport cargo, making the Millibot extremely versatile. However, at the moment, Millibot is still in its initial research phase, and it's not deemed to be safe enough to test on animals. However, if the Millibot is successful in animal trials and then successful in human trials, it could revolutionize the way we practice medicine. Number 4. The Robotic Skyscraper Maker. As of now, making a tall building requires scores of engineers, construction workers, and carpenters in order to get everything just right. However, there may be soon teams of drones that can 3D print structures out of cement. Taking inspiration from animals such as wasps and termites that work together to build their homes, researchers Robert Stewart Smith and Mirko Kovac have recently proved that several drones could cooperatively build a 2-meter-tall cylinder made of insulation foam and a 0.18-meter-tall cylinder wall made of special cement. In order for this to happen, 1 or 2 builder drones had to fly around a circle while squirting out a line of quick-hardening foam, or cement, building up the structures 1 layer at a time until completion. After each layer was printed, a 3rd drone used a depth sensing camera to capture a 3D map of the work in progress and allow the cooperative drone team to adjust construction steps as needed in order to create a functioning end product. These drones worked at an efficient yet sometimes laborious pace, as each could only last for up to 10 minutes before it needing to reload building materials, and depending on the drone, get a fresh battery. According to simulations, it is possible for drones to work together and coordinate flight paths to build a dome. And while they would require human supervision, they could use their own AI-guided decision-making directive to figure out where to fly and how to deposit building materials. As a result, as they become more functional and autonomous, they could become a useful tool in doing work that's too dangerous for humans, with examples including post-natural disaster reconstruction in remote areas or repairing parts of a radioactive area such as the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. However, it will take continued research and development in order to get these incredible machines to the level necessary to act completely independently. Number 3. Spot. Dogs are usually very well loved as pets, but they are sometimes not so well loved when they become super intelligent mechanized enforcers working for police departments. Yet that's exactly what happened for a short while with Spot. On one hand, Spot is an incredible piece of technology. Created by Boston Dynamics, when not in use it can stroll around your home as a dog normally would, but when in use it can perform a bunch of incredible functions. These include the ability to map your environment, move through terrain, sense obstacles, lift packages, and, in a rather fun twist, walk downstairs backwards, with all of this having the ability to be done autonomously. While these features are pretty incredible, Spot's cost of around $75,000 a unit make it simply too expensive for most people. Yet that just may be the least of its problems. After all, the robot looks less like a dog and more like a small, agile attack robot, and the public's dislike for Spot became apparent when the robot was tested with the NYPD. That's because despite the fact that the police department used the dogs in just a few cases, namely in a dangerous hostage situation in the Bronx and an incident at a public housing building in Manhattan, the NYPD received a ton of backlash online, with most criticizing them for enacting what looked like a dystopian militarization effort and for funding a tech and money-fueled power imbalance between citizens and police forces. When one further considers the fact that Spot was introduced into the NYPD in 2020 during the wake of the BLM protests and calls to diminish the power of the police forces, it's no surprise that it received negative press, and as a result, it was not long until the NYPD pulled Spot from its forces altogether. So, while Spot may be a cool machine on paper, it probably will be brought back to the dog pound for the foreseeable future. Number 2. Robot laborers. Most factories rely on human labor to produce thousands of products per year. However, for years there have been a desire to create machines that can work 24/7 and completely replace these workers. While this seems like a pipe dream at best in the past, Elon Musk is planning to make it a reality with the robot Optimus. Featuring a fully humanoid head and self-driving torso that can perform most of the basic tasks a human can. It will be able to carry a maximum of 20 kilograms, and at 173 centimeters in height and 57 kilograms in weight, it will be the approximate size of an adult human. It will be powered by 40 electromechanical actuators, and its face will feature a screen display. And while all of this might be scary, Elon Musk has promised that there will be some limits on the machine. More specifically, he said it will only be able to walk at a speed of 8 kilometers per hour and will be deliberately weak enough for most humans to easily overpower it, with this being the case just in case the machine goes haywire. Musk has also said that, quote, "It's intended to be friendly, of course, and navigate through a world built for humans and eliminate dangerous, repetitive, and boring tasks," end quote. Elon Musk hopes that in a future, physical work will be a choice, and that as a result, these machines will be able to grace factory floors around the world. Now, the first rendition of these robots was shown by Musk in late September of 2022. While still a prototype, it was able to wave to the audience. However, Tesla still hasn't figured out how to make it walk, and Musk has hinted that it might be several years until it enters production. However, given the fact that he estimates that these robots will cost less than 20 grand a pop, they could be a cost-effective replacement for humans. However, only time will tell whether or not this will be the case. Number 1. The Flying Asphalt 3D Printer Robot. It takes a lot of manpower and resources to continuously send out crews to fix public roads, and this often leads to streets being left in a constant state of disrepair. However, the city of Leeds in the UK has decided to tackle this issue head-on by initiating their new Self-Repairing Cities initiative. The idea behind this is to develop new technology so that by the year 2035, Leeds' road repair system will be fully automated, with the hope being that this initiative can spread to the entire UK by the year 2050. Now, while there are plenty of technologies being researched, by far the marquee machine that's in development is the Flying Asphalt 3D Printer Robot. The idea behind it is that it will not only detect road cracks, but also fly to these cracks and repair them without the help of human handlers. While this may sound like a bit of a pipe dream, the prototype robot that's currently being developed is well on its way to doing so, thanks to its special features. For example, it has a vision system that's so advanced it can identify road cracks and then coordinate the image into a crack point coordinate to drive the 3D printer. While there have been a minimal amount of false positives and localization errors, these issues are beginning to be resolved with using a software known as Crack IT. This software is useful because it allowed the robot to use both a pixel-based and a block-based approach that takes into account images, coordinates, and noise so that errors can be greatly reduced. Beyond using vision software, another major feature of this robot is the asphalt heating and extruder system. This feature allows the robot to use high-power electric heaters to heat specific pieces of asphalt to a precise temperature of 180 degrees Celsius. At this temperature, the asphalt turns into a slightly liquid sludge that can then be guided by the extrusion nozzle into a complete and uncracked road. The final important piece of this robot is its ground mobility system. This allows it to precisely place itself on the road so that it doesn't slip in icy or wet conditions, allowing it to work all 365 days a year. As a result, the Flying Asphalt 3D Printer Robot has the potential to put human road crews out of business. I'll see you next time.
Watch our binge-watching playlist if you'd like to watch all of our most popular top 15 videos. Grab a drink, grab a snack, and get ready to binge.